The Jedi dueled side by side against the horde of droids, deflecting bolts and delivering swinging blows, destroying droids left and right. Link was having a bit more trouble, having only a massive two-handed sword at his disposal, but he still managed to dispatch his fair share of the droids. Vegeta, quickly, growing tired of this fight, flew high above the army of droid soldiers and let fly with a massive fireball that would engulf them all. Fortunately, the Jedi knew the bolt was coming and managed to drag the elven hero of time away from the battlefield just in time.
What?
Gotta love fanfiction. Welcome to PrinnyCast for episode 29, April 13th, 2013. I'm a wandering martial artist penguin who seeks to shed my dark Haddo power before it overcomes me, but I can't share my real name because of copyright conflicts with a famous boxer, so I'm simply known as M. Chris. And I'm banded with the blue blaster boy Borg from the future Mike, also known as Prinny Man, and the Yordle-adopted Prinny who wanders the Valoran countryside from a steampunk copter Dragon Wing Grover, who apparently is still flying around up there. I don't know if he's going to be joining us today. But all the same, this day we make a stand where we cross over to dare to cross the crossovers over there in the video game world of crossovers. Alliteration.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. Special thanks to longplays.org for all their help to get us game footage. Go check out their site at longplays.org. I repeat myself. And thanks to galaxybugs.com, home of PrinnyCast forums and place to find Unreal Tournament and Minecraft servers so you can go play. And don't forget Grover's channel on YouTube at PCGOTW, and where he streams at PrinnyCast_Grover on Twitch TV. And Mike here also streams on Twitch TV under Ruzaz.
Not nearly as much, though.
Well, he hasn't been streaming hardly at all lately either because of his move, so...
Yeah.
And boy, is he moving.
You gotta go fast.
I didn't know those steampunk machines could move that fast. No. So, I guess before we get to the games of the week, I have to apologize if my attitude's a little crappy today, and also if the recording is a little crappy today. See, most of everybody knows about that monster storm that just kind of messed up stuff for people over the last week, but it was worse in some areas than others, and it thankfully wasn't that bad here. But my internet has gone to crap. When it is actually on, it's at about almost half speed. I'm 1.5 meg. I'm running about 1 right now, which is not where I was hoping to be on a Skype call, but we do what we can. And so this was followed up by, I don't know what Grover's doing. But worse than that was, well, as some people may have already discovered, we got one of our videos flagged again. I wasn't going to mention their name because I don't like pointing out what the companies who may be working with us, but in this case it's kind of obvious because there's one of 3 companies that actually state their name on the video about who shut us down, and that can kind of narrow down who you might suspect anyway, because I've never heard of Ubisoft ever doing it to anybody, and Blizzard Activision, while they may have their problems, I've never heard of them flagging anybody, so that leaves Square Enix. So apparently our Final Fantasy videos, which you can find trailers for everywhere, there's like 50 versions of any particular trailer, they're easy to find, God, it's not only flagged, but the video has actually been taken down worldwide, which is kind of about as heavy as an offense you can get without actually having, you know, the whole channel banned, which this does actually mean we have a strike against us. 3 strikes, and it's done. So this is a big deal, and this is not the first time we've had to deal with this, especially since this is the first time an actual representative has flagged us. Now, whether it's how that works exactly, I don't know. We are in contact with them to get some of this worked out, but this is a very, very bad thing for the PrinnyCast, and I hope whatever it is, we'll get it sorted out. But in the meantime, what we've been warning about for a long time about not using quite so many trailers, this is why. And apparently for the time being, no matter what I would love to show you, Square Enix trailers are off the plate for the moment until this gets cleaned up, and this may continue to just about everybody's trailers. I mean, if it was like spoilers to a video game, or if it was somebody posting an outright movie or something like that, I get why the copyright laws are there, to protect that kind of stuff, and why they would flag stuff like that, is that you don't want stuff spoiled, you don't want certain aspects, whether it's good or bad, getting out there into the public. They could be experiencing themselves and thus keeping people from either buying the game or watching your version of the video. I get that, but these are trailers. These are trailers they give out to people to post on their respective news websites. granted, these are special licenses. I get that, but I don't know. This seems like the most pointless. I don't know. I won't stay on that because I could probably rant for a long time. I'm already going to likely edit this quite a bit anyway, but just needed to get that out there. This is another scary moment for PrinnyCast, not because I'm really worried about the channel getting taken down, but it's a real shoot in the boat. It's a kick in the pants. So I'll try to keep optimistic here. We've got a pretty good show lined up. I actually did a lot of work this week for this one, so hopefully it'll go kind of well.
I think so.
We'll continue on to the games of this week. So, what have you been up to?
I've been playing a lot of Diablo 3, not so much Luigi's Mansion this week. Finally got my DLC for Bioshock Infinite to work, so I've been playing that as well. That's honestly pretty much it. I haven't... Oh, you know what? I did install Metro last night, and I played a little bit of that, because everybody kept telling me how good it was. But it seems to be that kind of Doom atmosphere with the new gunplay. You know, it doesn't have the old Doom gunplay, and I don't know if the two work together very well. I didn't play it for real long, so, I mean, I'll go back and give it a fair chance, but what I did play I wasn't super impressed with.
And you guys haven't gotten back to the hardcore stream yet, have you?
No. Sydney dropped out of it, and the other guy I was playing with hasn't felt like playing Diablo, so I don't know that it's going to go anywhere. It probably will, eventually, but not right now.
Nothing else. And my list is, on Congregate, we've got King's League Odyssey, which I probably put like 6 hours onto that stupid game. I kind of like that particular series. This is a semi-sequel to King's League, the original. I don't know if you'd call this a sequel or an expansion or whatever, but we'll put some time into it, and I enjoyed it. Toyed with a few fighting games this week, like Smash Brothers and Tekken and Mugen, and I tried out the Tekken Card Tournament, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It has an interesting but very weak system to it. You can try it out for yourself, and I'll link in the description below, but you basically choose a character, and all of the cards involved are the various moves from the game that the character will do, and a little bit of rock, paper, scissors, but you have to do some extra planning because each time you do focus, that's an extra card that you get. So you start stacking them up, then you can do a long series of combos. So it's not a bad system. I don't know, maybe it's just because I was playing the CPU. I don't know. But it's free. It's a hefty load because it's pretty graphics intensive for a browser game, especially a card game. That's available on iOS, Android, and Kindle as well. So it's one of those kind of games. And I also wanted to showcase, I know this game's been around a long time, but I was watching Cilantro play it the other day, and it reminded me, I have never mentioned this one on the show, so here we go. Hydra Castle Labyrinth. It's kind of a Castlevania meets Legend of Zelda sort of thing. It's a side-scroller, but it feels very Legend of Zelda-ish about the way that the character moves, in a sense. It's made by mostly a single Japanese homebrew programmer named Buster that has an English patch to it too, so I'll link both of those in the description as well. So we're going to have lots of links down there. I'm pointing, you can't see again. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've been up to. I didn't even play my truck game this week. A bad week. And not just for me. I mean, it's been a bad week. So, I guess on the game news.
So, before we go into any actual new news, we have a follow-up for one of our stories last week.
Oh, yes.
Some of you guys may remember that we commented on Adam Orth's infamous Twitter... Adam Orth's infamous Twitter fiasco with Microsoft and the new Xbox that hasn't been announced. Most websites are now reporting that he has resigned from Microsoft, though there is no news on how he's dealing with it. People are actually... I know that people are saying that he's resigned. Some people have speculated that he's being forced out for violating his NDA.
I would not be surprised.
NDA.
Non-disclosure agreement.
Yes. Because even if it's not an always online system, they're extremely tight-lipped about what it could or could not be. So for him to say or hint that it's anything, I could see that as a violation.
Mm-hmm. Gotta wait for those announcements. I mean, there's a lot of news about people putting stuff on their resume that broke the news about Ubisoft. Some other people are working on versions of Watch Dogs, and I think it's Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and they are confirmed for Xbox 720, despite no official announcement. So I don't know if that was an accidental oops, but yeah, when you put stuff like that on the resume, people find out. It's like when you file stuff with the trademark or copyright office, people find out. There's this actual copyright situation that showed up again this week, which we'll talk about in a moment. But first, did I miss a gaming event or something? Not only did about 24 new games get mentioned and trailers released all over the place, it may have even been more than that. It seemed like way more than I could count. A lot of them are smaller stuff. But anyway, Nintendo's stock also jumped a whopping 11% in about 24 hours, which is the highest gain it's had since 2008. I couldn't find any single reason why any of this is happening. I felt like the guy that missed a cool party, but I did find out why the raise in the stock, and it's not as good as news as it might have sounded at first. What I understand to happen is the stock went up, as did every other major Japanese company who has a massive global exports, because the value of the yen just dropped very heavily again. So in other words, it only really balanced out. They're not worth any more than they were. It's just the yen has dropped almost that much. So, and because of them being export companies, they kept their stock up high where everybody else's technically fell because the yen fell. This is not really good news like I was hoping it was originally. I was hoping Nintendo did something really great and not everybody was privy to it. And we were going to find out in a couple of weeks or so. And, oh well. Meanwhile, as you're seeing here, Obsidian released a video showcasing their almost $4 million Kickstarter-funded Project Eternity isometric RPG. It won't be out for a good year yet, but it's slated tentatively for April 2014, and it's looking pretty darn good already for a year yet to come. Yeah, here it is. Here's that copyright thing. As Prey 2 continues in limbo in development over at Human Head Studios, the parent company of ZeniMax has filed with the U.S. Trademark Office to broaden the power of the Prey franchise to possible other media like TV, film, comics, and more. Which is a little strange because Prey, I know there are people that remember Prey, but it was not that big of a success.
No.
These sort of moves tend to mean little, as folks might remember Microsoft filing to renew the Killer Instinct copyright sometime back that we mentioned. It got a lot of people excited for a new Killer Instinct title, but it later turned out that particular case was just to clear the franchise away from any trouble for a TV series that had the same name that's been running for almost all of the 2000s. And I think it's still running. At least IMDb has the little dash with no date at the other end, so I'm assuming it's still around. And speaking of long-awaited fighting game sequels, the HD compilation sales of Darkstalkers Revolution wasn't nearly as successful as hoped. And while we hear this a lot in gamedom these days, it means perhaps a bit more here, as it seemed like the potential of an actual sequel largely hung on how much interest was shown in this re-release. Much like how Tatsunoko vs. Capcom was kind of a test for the potential of Marvel 3, which was likewise a very poor way to test this one as well. So that being considered poor sales does not mean there will never be a Darkstalkers 4, it just may hurt its future for the time being. But, you know, most Darkstalker fans likely already own the Darkstalkers games. So, like me, I do not feel a need to go and buy the HD versions. If I want to play Darkstalkers, I have 1 and 3. I don't have the middle one, but...
That would be 2.
Well, it's actually called Night Warriors Darkstalkers Revenge. It's one of those kind of games that aren't alphabetically fitting in there. And during an event for Neil Blomkamp's new movie, Blomkamp? I'm sorry if I'm murdering names again. New movie Elysium. Ugh, do I show the trailer for that or not? The District 9 creator mentioned he'd still love to do a Halo movie if he was offered to. This is the same fellow that was once in talks quite a few years ago in 2006 with Microsoft and Bungie for doing a big screen of the Halo flick, but it fell through, quite literally causing the creation of District 9 as a full feature based off of a short film that he brought to the spotlight in the first place, which is what made him famous. Meanwhile, the sci-fi tale of Elysium won't open until August 9th, and there's a lot of those tales of rich versus poor in two separate worlds this time. I mean, you've got and all of them over something that's almost like a Destroyed Earth, because you got the one with Tom Cruise, you got the one with Will Smith, you've got Elysium here with Matt Damon, and then you've got one that's somewhat similar, the Upside Down, with the two worlds that are hanging above each other and with the reverse gravity. Anyway, you guys can look those up.